I don't know what's going on. I live in a normal town, about as normal as any other regular town in America. There are a bunch of regular people that live here, and most have been here their whole lives. I moved out here about 3 years ago to take care of my grandfather. He passed not long after, and I inherited his home. It's not anything special, but why not take a free home? It's normally very peaceful. It was 5 o'clock last night when everything started. I've been awake for so long now. The clock on my laptop says it's 4 a.m. It all started after dinner. I work early, usually 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., so I eat an early dinner when I get home. I was cooking some broccoli and potatoes, nothing special. All week they had said the weather was going to be perfect, and it had been all day, up until then. As I was cooking, a dark shelf cloud started rolling in, and before I knew it, it was pouring buckets and lightninging like crazy. The thing that threw me off, though, was the sound. There was no thunder. Hey, summer heat lightning, right? You are required to shut your doors, windows, and vents. Turn off your lights. Stay out of hallways and basements. Choose a room on the second floor if able and lock your door. Do not come out until advised. I dropped everything and froze. What the hell? I said. I think they were using the tornado siren as a giant megaphone because the quality was awful, but I could tell what it was saying. I figured it was just a really bad storm and the town was just taking precaution. I went to finish cooking my dinner when I heard a crack at the front door. It sounded like a branch may have hit it hard. It's happened before, so I paid it no mind. I got the food and headed into the living room, grabbed my laptop and headed into the bathroom. I don't have a basement, so I figured I'd chill in the tub. I threw my stuff in there, went to my room and grabbed a pillow and some blankets, in case it was going to be a long night. I made sure all the doors and windows around were locked and headed back to the bathroom. I made it to the room, shut the door, and locked it. I took 2 steps away and something jiggled the handle. It wasn't just a slight jiggle. It was a few direct tries at opening the door. Oh, what the hell? Hello? I asked. I looked under the door and saw a shadow against the hallway light. It moved away, and the hallway light turned off. Okay, that's super weird. Is the power out? No, the power wasn't out. I was still getting internet. Again, another jiggle at the handle. Oh, crap. I have a camera in the hallway. I bet I can see what it is. I hopped on the computer and pulled up the camera's feed. Left my phone in the frigging kitchen, or I'd just used the app. I wish I hadn't opened it up. What I saw, I can barely explain. It was like a shadow, but a bony shadow. I could tell it was skeletal, but it moved in ways I can't explain. Almost like it was moving into itself in areas, and things were trying to get out of it from inside. I heard the doorknob jiggle a few more times, then a bang. I jumped out of my skin and almost broke my foot kicking the tub faucet. Did it hit the door? No, it wasn't a close bang. I checked the camera again, and that's when I saw. The windows down the hallway were open. All of them. And now, there were more of them. They just stood there, looking at the door, almost forming a line. One would jiggle the handle, then move on and let another try. One looked around the door frame and just touched the door, then moved away. I don't know what the hell they were doing. It turns out it was going to my camera. It's now off, and I can't see how many are out there. This went on for at least an hour, then it just stopped. The wind stopped, the pacing stopped, and I don't see their shadow under the doorway. The hallway light is back on. The only thing is, the siren is still running in town. It's repeating the exact same message. I'm too afraid to open the door and look. My laptop battery is almost dead. Why would the alert still be on? Something doesn't feel right. I'm going to try to go to sleep. If I keep the door locked, I should be fine, right? Update. Things are not okay. I'll tell you more tomorrow. Things are not going well for me, or anyone else in town for that matter. I left you guys while I was in my bathroom, and everything was seemingly back to normal. The light was back on, the windstorm had died down, and I couldn't hear any of those things outside the door. My laptop died only 5 minutes after I had last posted, so I'm sorry I couldn't update until now. Things got out of control quickly. Where do I start? So everything was back to normal, but I wasn't going to open that damn door. No way. I decided to sleep and take a shot at things in the morning. I covered the bathroom window with a towel, never saw anything by it or outside of it, just the storm, and headed to the tub. I slept super well, actually, which seems weird. I fell asleep and woke up in the same exact position in the tub. I peeked over the rim and saw the light was still on. Okay, good. I peeked through the towel on the bathroom window. Okay, not so good. I saw outside, maybe 20 feet away from my house, 5 of those things. I could get a much better look at them from this viewpoint. Bear with me, because I still can't wrap my mind around what the hell these things are. Here's how I can explain them. You know raw chicken skin? Take that, but make it 6 feet tall. Wrap it around like a human-like skeletal structure, but add some more bones in there for good measure, and to make things a little more jagged looking. Now fill it with Vaseline. Add 2 little black eyes to the top of the forehead, and a circular mouth about the size of a silver dollar. That's what these things are. I stared out the window with awe and endless fear. I must have stared out at them for more than a few minutes. They would just look at each other and shuffle around aimlessly. A few times they literally snapped their necks 360 degrees to look around, and I think it was to check on noises. I think this, because as I was standing there, I must have bumped into a bottle in the shower, causing it to fall. It made a loud bang, and I watched the things snap their necks and eyes directly to the window. I was frozen in terror and disgust. All of them proceeded to line up next to each other. They looked back and forth between each other until one on the end did something I'll never be able to unsee. It looked like every bone in its body moved at the same time, jutting out of position and into a new one. It looked like it was trying to imitate an animal, getting down on all fours, but when it moved, it didn't really know how. It started to move around the side of the house, and it was the most disgusting and unnatural thing I have ever seen. I was almost physically sick from watching it. Then I did throw up, because the next 3 did the exact same thing. I cleaned off my mouth in time to see the last one just start walking around the side of my house, its eyes and head never moving from the window. Oh no, I thought. They're coming now. And I was correct. I looked under the door to see the shadow of one of them, and then the doorknob testing began again. It was almost rhythmic, the way they took turns testing it. I was at a loss. I sat in the tub of thinking of what the hell I could do. Use a shower curtain rod and attack them? No, the thing would snap in half on the first hit. Stay in here and try to wait it out? Nope. They know exactly where I'm at now. The only thing I could think of was to distract them and make a run for it. My neighbor's house was only 50 yards away, and I could see his back door was open. I couldn't see any of those things walking around inside, and there were no more I could see outside in the yard. I turned on the faucet in the sink and turned the shower on full blast. I decided to not bring the laptop. It's too heavy. My phone was still somewhere in the house, I'm not sure where. I slowly and quietly opened the window and the screen behind it. I crawled out, making sure not to knock over any more bottles. I dropped to the ground and made almost no sound. Outside, it was quiet. I heard a few birds chirping, and actually a dog barking way down the road. I looked around and couldn't see any life, or any signs of those things. I started to walk towards my neighbor's house. There's woods to my right, about 100 yards out, and the road to my left with woods on the other side of it. As I'm walking, I hear this noise that I can only describe as bone-chillingly horrifying. Look up koalas bellowing. It's like a pig laughing and wheezing, but 10 times louder. I looked over into the woods and saw one of those things on all fours just looking at me and inflating, deflating its head to make those noises. I panicked and started to sprint towards the back door of my neighbor's. I looked behind and saw the others walking around the side of my house and spotting me. I kept running and saw the one in the woods start running at me on all fours, but then moved to start running on just its legs. Fast. I'm glad I was as close as I was. I made it to the back porch door and shut it and locked it. The thing ran right into it and almost knocked itself out. I stood there as it just got up and reconfigured its bones, but then looked down and tried the doorknob. It looked back at me, then back down, just trying to get the door to open. I backed away and looked for the nearest room. I crept up the stairs and turned into the first room. The door was open, and I could see deep maroon stains on the carpet. Okay. I need a break. I'll update you guys again soon. I'm okay now, and I think I'm starting to figure some things out, but I need to rest. One of those things managed to mess my leg up a bit. I'll explain later. If this is happening anywhere else, stay safe. Lock your doors, or at least block them heavily. Please. I feel like I'm living through a nightmare. I don't even know where to begin with this update. So much has happened, and some of it I know you people won't believe. Hell, I barely believe it myself. It's like something out of a video game. So I got into my neighbor's house. I had never actually been inside, but one time to use the bathroom at a cookout. He was an older guy whose wife had just passed a few years ago. He was usually in good spirits and would keep up with the lawn and such, just living out his life. His house was actually pretty nice, given the circumstances, and nothing else was really touched. My neighbor, though, he didn't fare well against these things, and I'm not sure if it's because he didn't listen to the alert or what. I wish I could unsee what I saw in his bedroom. I turned the corner into the room and realized there were maroon bloodstains all around. It looked like someone had exploded from the inside. Viscera covered an entire corner where I saw a pile of mush. Just skin and mush. I ran out of the room and got sick again. I took a few minutes to collect myself and went back in. It was my neighbor. It had to be. His walking stick was right there next to him, bent. At least he got one last shot in, right? It took a second, but I realized something. There were no bones. None that I could see, at least. I know why now, but didn't realize it at the time. I looked around the room and everything else seemed fine and intact. It's weird. These things seem to be immensely strong, i.e. my neighbor's remains, and they don't break down doors. They don't seem to have any sharp claws that I can see. I don't get it. I had made my way back into the hallway and was trying to pull my mind together when I heard something downstairs. A door opening. I froze for a second, snapped out of it quickly. I shuffled down the hall and tried a door. Locked. Crap. I tried the door adjacent to it, and thankfully it was not. Unfortunately, though, it was another bathroom. I slightly sighed, but got into the bathroom lightning fast, as I heard something coming up the little stairs, and that same grunting sound again. I felt like my eardrums were going to shatter in that hallway. I slammed the door shut and locked it. I checked the inside and there was a window, and it led to the first floor roof. Okay, good. I had a way out. I heard the thing creep up to the door and yet again try the handle. This time, though, it was a little different. Since there was only one of them so far, it just kept trying. It sounded like it was using a drill and just constantly trying to turn the knob. I was afraid that the thing was going to fall off. I opened the window and looked around. I heard that same grunting in the distance, but I saw nothing around the side of the house. I crept out onto the roof and closed the window as best I could. I forgot to turn on the shower, but oh well. I surveyed the outsides and still didn't see any of them. The ones from my house either left or were now also inside my neighbor's house. I hopped down off the roof into the bush, avoiding any injuries and without making too much noise. Once I was down, I realized I had no clue what I was going to do now. I quickly decided I was going to take a shot through the woods and into town. I needed to know what was going on and if it's also happening in town. I booked it for the tree line and made it. I looked back and saw nothing. No creatures after me. Thank God. I proceeded to lightly move through the woods towards my destination. Trigger warning, animal remains. As I made my way through, I know the area well. I smelled something awful, and I knew the smell. I came upon another carcass, this one more recognizable. Well, it was actually two. Two deer that were flayed open, more precisely this time. It was almost like a surgeon took 10 hours and meticulously opened them up and took out their bones. I don't understand how, but I didn't have much time to look. As I stood there, I heard a rustling nearby. I ducked over a fallen tree and stayed as still as I could. One of the creatures was meandering by. I came upon the carcass and studied it for a minute or two. It didn't seem to notice me, thankfully. I was about 20 yards away from it. It stood there, eyeing the remains, and then my stomach dropped. Out of its forearm/wrist, I think, came this long protrusion. There was no blood or anything, and I didn't see it there before, so it had to come out of it. It was like a long butcher's knife. The creature's arm popped and cracked into another position and bent down, slicing at the carcass. It stood back up and made some more revolting, popping movements and made a sighing kind of noise. Apparently it was happy with itself. It looked around a few times, then started walking back from where it came. I waited a good 5 minutes to make sure nothing else was around. I could hear some birds and more grunting way out in the distance, but that was it. I got up and started back on the trail. It took me a little over 30 minutes to walk into town through the woods. It was nice out at least. A small shine of light in the last insane 24+ hours. I made it to the edge of town and was at the back of the gas station. Everything seemed normal until I turned the corner. The amount of viscera, I can't even explain. I don't know whether it was animal or worse, but it was everywhere. Some I could tell were for sure animal, and some I could tell was for sure person. It felt like I was walking into a horror movie scene. I was not okay. I turned around, started walking my way to the bank. It's the first place I could think of going since it seemed more secure than any other building around. Thankfully, I was right. I made it to the bank and tried the door, but it was locked. I looked around the front and saw one of the things. He was on the corner just staring out, almost not moving at all, just swaying back and forth a little. I picked up a sizable chunk of loose concrete on the ground and threw it as far as I could past it. It snapped its neck so hard to the noise that it literally fell limp, then reconfigured and started moving towards it. I still can't get over how they move. It's so unnatural. A few more came out of nowhere and joined it. I had no idea where they came from. I started to move along the wall towards the front of the building and then froze. One of them was shambling past the front door and was headed right past me. I held my breath, watched as it moved past me, seemingly not paying attention. As it was just past, I coughed, letting the air out. It perked up and looked right at me. Damn it. I sprinted towards the door and made it, but not without injury. The thing must have taken a swing at me as I was running, and I felt nothing. I didn't know if it was adrenaline or what, but it took a nasty swipe at my leg, and it was now bleeding pretty badly. I locked the door, but the whole thing was glass, and I wasn't going to take a chance. I put a few fake plants and trees in front of it and tried moving a table, but it was too heavy. I limped back to behind the front desk and took off my shirt. I ripped it and wrapped it around my leg as tight as I could. It stopped bleeding a little while later, I guess, but I passed out, so I don't know how much blood I lost. I woke up to those things pacing around the outside of the bank. I can see them all through the windows. I can't count how many they are. They just seem to keep coming. There's maybe 50 now. I don't know. A few of them keep making that damn grunting noise, and I'm sure it's bringing them in. I'm on the bank's computer now, and there's nothing on the news about this. I've started hearing vehicles, though, coming from somewhere. It's a low rumble, but I know it's the sound of a truck or something. There's also jets or planes or something. Maybe helicopters. I don't know. Those things aren't even trying the door as far as I can tell. They're just shuffling around outside like zombies. I feel like I'm going crazy. If anyone out there in my town even is still alive, please help. John, Jerry, Mark, Liz, I'm sorry if you're out there and I can't help you. I'm going to sleep. I can barely keep my eyes open. I haven't eaten in so long, but there's a vending machine across the room. I might try and get to it, but it'll show those things I'm still in here. Till next time, stay safe. Field Report AA 5270F. Time 23:53 hours. Location redacted. Subject found, male, 20s, wound to lower extremity, dehydrated. Field note, Team 3 was dispatched to, redacted, in accordance to Section A34 of Guidelines. Mission brief, eradicate project, redacted, from location and retrieve samples per guideline set. Team 3 had arrived at the location, and project, redacted, was present. Commenced purge outside of building and gave all clear to breach and clear building. Team 3 found no trace of project, redacted, but found one male subject inside, wounded and falling into unconsciousness. Subject was evacuated and taken to, redacted. Team 3 was redeployed outside of previous location to find Mother Hive. Subject is currently being treated for wounds and possible infections. Brief interview with subject has occurred. Notes are below. Interview transcript. What is your name? Where the hell am I? Who are you? Sir, what is your name? My name is Alan. What the hell is going on here? Are those things here? Okay, Alan, what do you mean by those things? Those alien monsters with the bones and... Where are you? Why can't I see you? How did you get the wound on your leg, Alan? One of those things, I guess. I was running, and I just remember getting inside the bank and closing the door. How long has it been since then? 3 days, Mr. Allen. You've been in a medically induced coma so that we may treat your injuries. Are you with the government? What the hell is going on out there? I've never seen anything like this. It's like a horror movie. Mr. Allen, when did you first see the beings inside your home? It was like 6, maybe 7 days. Wait, what? How do you know they were in my house? Were you in the town? Did you get the alert? When did you first hear the alert, Mr. Allen? I was cooking, and it looked like a storm was coming in, I think. Then the alert started, and I went to the bathroom. What the hell, man? Wait, did you send the alert or something? Are you the people behind all this? Alan, I'm going to be frank with you so as to hopefully answer any questions you have. We are not with the United States government or any foreign entity. We are a group outside of the bounds of public and private law. This may be a strange thing to hear, but we are what many people call the ones behind the curtain. Yes, we did send the alert. Yes, we did know about these creatures. We are still studying them, and they are a menace to any area they may be. The information you can provide me may be useful in future endeavors and could save lives. Are you We do know that where they are and where they go, they tend to decimate the local population, be it animal or human. We call them Project Redacted. No, we did not create them intentionally. It was more of an invite of sorts. The story behind that is above my pay grade. I apologize. The team that extracted you and saved your life is in the process of finding and eliminating the main hive, or mother hive as they've termed it. These things feed on calcium, hence the deboning of any subject. I will never be able to unsee what I've seen, what they do to the bodies. Of course, Mr. Allen. The beings breed rapidly, but only in certain locations at a time. I feel approved to tell you all this because you will not be leaving. I am so sorry, but once you have been in contact with the creatures, you may exhibit signs of certain illnesses that only we may treat. What the hell are you talking about? I'm not staying here, you... The patient begins to rip out his medical devices. Doctors are dispatched, and patient is sedated. Look, I understand, Mr. Allen. I was exactly like you just over a year ago. You'll become accustomed to it here if your injuries prove to be non-fatal. We will see. End of transcript. Field notes edit. As of this time, 01:14 hours, Mother Hive has been located in area. Team 3, 11, and 21 are dispatched. Mother Hive has been located at Redacted and is as sizable as hive found on 12-201. Adding to file. Teams currently deployed have requested backup on location, sending teams 5 and 30. Hive is not susceptible to extreme heat or puncture blunt strikes as known. Use of FMJ proves to be adequate as keeping Project Redacted at bay, but is only lethal 37% of the time, if not hitting targeted areas on the body. Use of LN2 has proved 99% effective on any creature and is still preferred method of eradication. All teams are approved for lethal force and approved for use of LN2 Redacted. Alpha Leader 3 would like 5 to 10 Project Redacted subjects taken dead and at least 2 to 3 taken alive. Alpha Leaders 1 and 2 have now commented. Field notes, edit 2. As of this time, 04:34 hours, Mother Hive has been eradicated. 3 casualties recorded on Team 5. No foul play. Bodies have been recovered and are being transferred to Lab 1C. Note, all teams confirm Project Redacted. Started to retreat during encounter, an unknown number of subjects have escaped. Remaining teams have been deployed to track. Number of Project Redacted. Dead. 2,478. Approximate. Mother has been taken and en route to lab at Redacted. First recorded instance of Mother being taken. This should prove immeasurable and fight against them. We have found Subject Allen's internet history, giving us a more complete picture of his experience around Project Redacted. To do. Locate next test site. Test samples within environment at new test site. Confer with Lab 2B on possible Redacted and Redacted for current agents in the field. Update list of eradicated locations. June 27th, 2019. Agent Zen of Field Reporting Unit.